All right, everyone, welcome to FPL Live. It is game week 15. Welcome to the show, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Uh,
Hello.
hey, Stag, what's going on?
Not too much now, not too much now. And yourself, Luke?
Good, good. I'm excited for the show tonight. We have a special guest again on the show. It is the head writer for Fantasy Football Fix. It's Craig. How are you, Craig?
Very well, thank you very much. Thanks for having me on the show, guys. Appreciate it.
No problem, Craig. So I just want to give a quick shout out. You're on Twitter at fix_Craig. Is that correct?
That's it, you got it right.
Awesome. So go give Craig a follow. He's got some really awesome content. Stag, you want to kind of bring us in a little bit?
So yeah, let's just hop straight into things. Number one, everyone, I think it's important to note that I finally ended the great streak of reds that I was talking about literally every week for weeks. So no more will I bore you with that. And instead, we can talk about injuries and hits and who are we bringing in. It's a mess. The template is suddenly being destroyed, and it's great.
Yeah,
I think it's refreshing.
This week is a complete mess, especially with Austin injury coming pretty late. It's got my head in a spin.
So we had that beautiful moment at the weekend where, well, beautiful moment, gee, that's pretty harsh, but, this great moment where Aguero goes and gets sent off and everything suddenly just goes totally pear-shaped for people. We've 4 games out. Then people rush to bring in Diego Costa, who's just yet again, got scored, got an assist as well, I was correct in saying. Pretty impossible to ignore. Harry Kane getting a brace as well, my tip last week. So then suddenly people went and rushed to get those and used their transfers, if not even a hit. And now suddenly, possibly a lot of people's anyway, third striker, Charlie Austin, goes and gets injured on Thursday night.
Yeah.
And it's great.
I feel bad for anyone who had Sergio Aguero and knee-jerked Charlie Austin into their team and is now having to knee-jerk him out again. Craig, are you in that boat, or do you sort of play FPL a little more safe?
Yeah, I own both Austin and Aguero already, so yeah, it was quite bad when obviously Austin picked up an injury as well, because Aguero was pretty much knee-jerked out immediately when I discovered that he'd be missing 4 games, so I've already had to make a -4, as my bench option is just not good enough, but and of course Austin, I can't envisage him being back for a good 3 or 4 weeks. So I think it makes sense just to take the hit now.
Yeah,
and even 3 or 4 weeks at the moment equates to multiple game weeks. We're not just talking about 3 games out. We're talking about a complete mess. So
that's a good.
There's no hold.
That's a good point. Yeah, so I guess we'll get into that later on, especially because I know me and you both have Austin. Do you have Austin as well, Stag?
Yeah, I got rid of him on Wednesday night. I was so sure about my decision. So
yeah, so I guess we'll touch on that later on in the show when we get to our transfers. But yeah, we can kind of go a little bit off topic now if you want to. If you have any questions for us.
For sure. There are questions in the chat anyway, plenty of them.
Let's do it.
I guess. So there's an awful lot of this. Iheanacho verdict, is Iheanacho the one to get in? A lot of that. So we might as well start with Iheanacho and maybe other potential Austin replacements while we're at it. That third striker option. Who are we going for? Who's looking statistically the best? Looking at Craig.
Well, let's throw that to Craig. I know Craig is pretty involved in the stats over at Fantasy Football Fix. So yeah, Craig, who would you kind of look at for this third striker spot?
This is a difficult one because we run a weekly article which focuses on the sort of top 5 key players, and myself and the team put that together, and we've come out with Origi this week. However, it wasn't a simple decision, and it is for us definitely between Origi and Iheanacho. And I have to put my hands up and say that even though I'm fully confident that Origi will have a very good week this week, and that's more based on sort of Liverpool's numbers, etc., I'm sort of leaning towards Iheanacho now that I've lost Austin, and that's just because I'm looking a bit more longer term. So without obviously conflict of interest, I'm just kind of I think that Origi's the one potentially for this week. It's just whether or not he can nail down a spot, basically, I think, for the longer term.
What stats are in Origi's favour? I just kind of find that interesting, considering he's only really started to appear quite recently, and he's slightly bit consistently really only since Coutinho went out, would I be correct in saying? Mm-hmm. So what are the standout figures that are making him jump for you guys?
I think it's it's why we've gone him is that it's just the all round Liverpool offering, really. You know, the fact that they've scored an average of over 3 goals per game at Anfield so far this season, which can't be competed with by any other team at the moment, and having the level of player around him makes him stand out. You know, he's actually, you know, going from his own perspective, he's bringing a goal to the table every 137 minutes. So, you know, nigh on one game, and that's in the Premier League, of course. He's had some sort of a lot of substitute appearances, so it's kind of blurs the stats a little bit. So they could be actually better than they naturally appear. When you look that even players like Chan, Henderson, and Lallana are not the most attractive of Liverpool player, because of course you've got the Mane, Firminos, and Coutinho's. They're still weighing in with assists. I think between them, they've got those three that will probably likely sit behind him at the weekend. They've got I think 10 or so assists between those guys. So he's got a lot of creativity behind him, and I think that's kind of good. But also 2 goals in the last 2 games, and, you know, played quite a lot of minutes in those last 2 games, means that, you know, Origi would be a very safe option.
Yeah, and he's playing up top for Liverpool too. So he's
absolutely,
whenever the ball gets in the box, he's going to be there. So yeah, I mean, I think at this point there's really 2 options. There's Origi and there's Iheanacho, and, you know, I don't know if those 2 are either season-long picks, just because they probably won't continue to start once you know, the injured come back. But I guess short-term, Origi has the stats going for him.
So John Lebo 180 has a compelling stat for us that kind of relates to this. In his last 5 Premier League matches that Aguero hasn't appeared for Man City, Iheanacho has 5 goals.
Yeah, I actually put that down in the Word doc I'm keeping track of too.
Yep. Oh, brilliant! Yeah, so you get the idea, though, that there's this massive argument about Iheanacho that just continues to jump up about his goals per minute in his career, his goals per minute this season as well. I think we're talking, is it 5 goals, 3 assists, which equates to something every 71 minutes or something is his record this year.
Yeah, his goal scoring per minute is up there with the best of them. We've got a bit of a tough fixture list coming up. I know Leicester isn't playing to the best of their ability, but they still won the league last year, and, you know, you never know if they're going to turn it on at any point. Watford next, that should be a pretty easy game, but then Arsenal again. So, I mean, it's kind of a mixed bag for fixtures, and yeah, like you said, Iheanacho has been great once when Aguero's been out.
Like, you have to look at it, though, how big is the Aguero vacuum? And the Aguero vacuum is 4 games. So I guess you're looking at that Hull away tie as well for Iheanacho to celebrate his final game as a starter until Aguero gets injured again with a few goals. Like, as well, like, I was writing in my own column this week over at Rotoworld, and I was thinking that my tip, if I was to think of one single player who I think would score the most this game week, it would actually be Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, I agree. I know you had that tweet earlier in the week, but yeah, I thought it was brilliant, just highlighting Aguero when he's out. Really, Kevin De Bruyne and Iheanacho pick up the slack. Craig, I want to pitch this to you. I don't know if you have any stats on
Go for it.
Kevin De Bruyne's involvement. I know he's been really, really critical to our team. I'm a City fan. But I guess, are you guys anticipating that De Bruyne has an increase in points coming up?
Yeah, I saw Stag's tweet earlier on in the week as well, and I thought it was it's very interesting to see how influential De Bruyne is, particularly Iheanacho as well. When Aguero is out of the team, you know, a lot will sort of sit around Aguero naturally because he's a world-class player. But De Bruyne has now the chance to shine over the next 4 game weeks, and when you look at it, you know, he's definitely more of an assist engine than a goal scoring machine. I mean, we have seen obviously De Bruyne weigh in with goals here and there over his time in the Premier League so far, but this season, you know, it's not hugely compelling. I think he's got 2 goals in the last 14 game weeks, but of course he's, you know, all about the assists.
Coming when Aguero was out last time.
Yeah, absolutely. There we go. So it says it all. Hopefully, you know, he can weigh in with another 3 or 4 goals over the next 4 game weeks. And I feel like his position will be, potentially more centralised with the lack of Aguero. I don't know if you guys agree. Particularly, obviously, you might know a bit more about City than myself. But
I mean, there's been talks that Kevin De Bruyne comes in and plays kind of a false 9 role. There's talks that he comes in and kind of plays behind Iheanacho, and it's just kind of a straight swap. So I mean, I can't really say Pep's been rotating our lineup so much. I honestly, Iheanacho and Aguero, not Aguero, De Bruyne, they're all going to be in really great attacking positions. So I mean, formation regardless, I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. Especially, actually, I like the De Bruyne pick a little bit more just because he is kind of that season-long pick. He's going to stay in the starting lineup. So. Yeah, I mean,
we also have to imagine, though, when you're talking about keeping him in the start of the lineup, but Jose Mourinho saying in the chat that KDB is not much of a goal scorer. He is when Aguero isn't there, and he was last season. That's what that's the argument that we have to make for KDB at the moment.
I agree.
But what I'm looking at, though, as well, is when you're considering these players, De Bruyne has actually been rested quite a bit in the past 2 weeks compared to even Iheanacho played in midweek. De Bruyne didn't. And we're looking at now matches this weekend, and we're looking at matches in the midweek next week, and then again the weekend after. We have 10 days with 3 matches. And I think we have to look at the longevity pick, and that's why I thought De Bruyne was a safer option. Now, that's what I've still ended up having to go and get in Nacho because of budget. But
Yep. Yeah, I think over the next 4 fixtures that Aguero's out, I think Iheanacho will start 3 of them, and I think he'll be rested for the 4th. I can't say which one it is, but...
So FPL Forecast has gone and triple tweeted to fill us in on the stats. So he didn't tag you in it, Luke, for whatever reason. So you can just
That's okay. No hard love.
Don't be too offended.
No hard
it's
feelings.
Okay. Anyway, as Iheanacho has become an option, last season he had a goal to minute ratio averaging 1 every 93.9 mins plus 5 assists. So far this season, from 301 minutes of football, he has produced a goal or assist every 50 minutes of game time, only completing 90 minutes once in that
That's
time.
impressive. That's impressive. And he netted a goal in the Champions League this week against Celtic.
Against Celtic, where both teams played for about 10 minutes and then just stopped playing.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, I think we've kind of killed this topic. Pretty much Iheanacho or Origi seem like decent picks for the immediate future, at least for Austin.
And if people have that extra 1.1 or 1.2 million, Jermaine Defoe.
Yep. Yeah, he's a good shot as well.
Got a good fixture this week, I agree. I think with Iheanacho, just to sort of finish with him, I mentioned something earlier. I looked at some numbers earlier on in the week, and it was more to do with his starts, because we know that he's going to be starting now that Aguero's out. And when you look at it, he had 10 starts. Well, he has had 10 starts in his sort of Premier League career so far, and in that time, he's got 7 goals and 4 assists in 10 starts. I thought that's very, very good.
Yeah, it's remarkable, like his record.
It's brilliant.
But okay, so looking across, then maybe I just mentioned KDB, and so when you're talking about KDB at the moment, there's this kind of great problem that people might be having to fit in Sanchez, considering he got that hat-trick last weekend. So if you're like me, you don't have him. I've actually continued to not have him in favour of keeping 2 Liverpool midfielders for this weekend, kind of alluding to what Craig said earlier. So we're kind of looking statistically, maybe back to you again, Craig. What are you thinking? Let's say we'll talk like the next 5 game weeks into the future for that kind of area, that maybe the 1, 2, even 3 if people drop a premium striker midfield slots. What do you think?
Well, to be honest, I've had Sanchez in and out of my own team, and I think that was more out of stupidity more than anything. Or I'm starting to realise that may be the case, because looking at this, I had a little look, and basically, I wanted to I think something came up earlier in the week comparing Sanchez to Suarez, and it comes up quite a lot. You know, naturally, both South American players, both hungry, kind of tireless in their approach, similar kind of styles. But Sanchez has obviously naturally played on the wing. We've seen Suarez play on the wing before for Liverpool, and so I thought, let's have a little look into this, just out of interest, for my own sanity. And in Suarez's first 79 Premier League games, he scored 41 goals and 22 assists. Believe it or not, Sanchez has scored 40 goals and 18 assists, so it's almost like for like. So it's making me think Sanchez is actually essential in my team.
No. Yeah, I just see Cian McKenna in the chat. Oh, Stagman, big mistake. It's like, I know, Cian, I know. But he just scored a hat against West Ham last weekend, and I have both Firmino and Mane, and I can't drop them when they're playing West Ham. I just can't.
You can't do it. You can't do it this week. But I think he's one of those ones that has to be factored in over the period of the next couple of weeks, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I'm definitely not going max 3 game weeks without him. Like, I'm happy to take a hit to get him in. Well, in fairness now, we're talking about Everton away next. I guess Chelsea made light of them.
Hi guys,
and then
I'm
it's Man
back.
City away. Whoa! Welcome back, Luke. We didn't even realize you were gone.
I have to go get my food. Are you guys on Everton? Is that what I heard?
No, I'm just shit talking Everton as per usual.
Oh,
Nothing
okay.
different.
Yeah, appropriate. Fitting.
But yeah, we were just talking about the premium midfielders and stuff, and I was talking about how I've decided to go a whole other week without Sanchez, and people in the chat were kind of screaming, "Oh, Stag, you poor man!" And I was thinking, yes, I know, but Firmino and Mane both play West Ham, so.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a tough dilemma, I must admit. I mean, the thing is, I'm just concerned with the Sanchez thing. If I didn't own him, I'd be a little bit fearful.
I've become accustomed to hiding behind a chair for one match every weekend this season. So.
Craig, Stag didn't own Aguero for like the past 3 weeks, so
I guess that's probably not done too. You're probably not done too badly out of that with a -1.
If you were here last week, if you were here last Friday, you'd have thought this was a terrible decision, Stag. You're here this week, and so you're like, oh, it's gone okay for you. You know, he did get sent off last weekend.
Yeah,
so it's worked out very well.
It balanced out nicely in the end. Like the two guys were kind of DMing me after Aguero got sent off, and they were like, "Have you started flying a flag yet, Stag? Like, what's going on?"
Stag, are you thinking about bringing in Kevin De Bruyne?
I thought about it seriously, but I couldn't do it unless I just totally dismantled my team. I kind of had to look. I had to look at the fixtures instead, and maybe this kind of segues nicely into a new topic. I was looking, at fixtures going into the future and kind of the standout teams going forward. Chelsea stand out by 120 miles, and we're also who else was looking good fixtures wise?
Swansea and Southampton
Spurs
as well.
Spurs look very good as well.
Yeah, Spurs,
and Spurs.
They've got the whole Burnley double, haven't they? In like two game weeks of each other. So
that's brilliant.
The thing with Burnley is you're talking about is it Hull or is it Burnley at home or Burnley away?
That's Hull and Burnley at home.
Oh, and they've got Burnley at the Lane, so yeah, they'll demolish them. Burnley
sure.
at their place.
I brought in Christian Eriksen last week, and he got
nice.
He got me a great points total. But even looking ahead, I'm feeling really good with having him and Kane in my team.
You got both. That's good.
Yeah, I've got both in there. We'll get onto it later, but I had a pretty insane week last week.
Ken Rooney just tweeted in there with a stat that's somewhat connects to what I was saying, not so much what you were just saying. Firmino has taken more shots inside the box, 11, than any other midfielder in the past 4 game weeks.
Yeah, his points tally wouldn't say that, but
I know, but that's why I can't drop him. I just can't.
I've got him too, Stag. You're not the only one, bud.
Yep, I've got him.
It's over-investment. That's my problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the fixtures are still really good for Liverpool's too.
I just don't know how I'm going to fit inside. I just don't know.
These teams that have no European commitments are just like the bane of my life. You've got Liverpool, and you're like, we have to just keep hold of those players. And then you've got Chelsea now, and I've actually now tripled up on Chelsea. And I thought I'd bring Alonso in at some stage, but obviously at the moment I probably will still bring Alonso in just because having a defender that is that attacking is great. But I've now got Pedro, Hazard, and Costa in my team. I don't know how I've ended up like that over the last couple of weeks, but it's happened.
Pedro, did you have Pedro for the good games, or have you just had him since?
No, I had him since Coutinho got injured, and I thought, well, I'll go Pedro. Most people were moving to Sigurdsson and other players sort of around that bracket, and I thought, well, I'm already thinking about bringing in Kane, so I kind of rested on Eriksen for now, and thought, well, let's go Pedro for a bit of a differential, just to sort of climb myself up my mini league. And of course, he's not really done anything yet, but he has been passed fit for the weekend, so here we go, fingers crossed.
So, kind of looking across just at the chat and stuff, there's quite a lot of talk about Sigurdsson.
Yeah.
Now, we've just mentioned Swansea as having great fixtures, and that they do indeed have. Swansea go and face, if I can get it up fast enough. So, okay, Swansea next few games, they've got Sunderland at home, obviously, this weekend. West Brom away, Middlesbrough away, West Ham at home, Bournemouth at home, Crystal Palace away. That takes you into the new year. It's incredible, that run of fixtures. Like, we highlighted it a few weeks ago, maybe before game week 13, when he went and scored maybe 10 in that crazy match with Palace. We were talking about how you probably needed to get Sigurdsson for this run. Would your stats tally with that, Craig?
Yeah, again, he's one of our top 5 key player picks for this week. I think Sigurdsson's one of those players that is just solid for fantasy football. Always delivers, doesn't matter what club he's at. I mean, he had a little bit of a torrid time at Spurs, kind of wasn't really fitting into the style, but again, when played, he did contribute some very good numbers and attacking returns. So absolutely, I mean, looking at the numbers that he's produced already this season, he's someone to factor in. I'm kind of a little bit scared that I haven't actually opted for him, and I've obviously gone to the sort of the Pedro way because of Chelsea's good fixtures. But Sigurdsson's an absolute, he's an absolute gem.
Yeah, and also just a point. Was it last? It was last week that Willian came on and scored the goal, correct?
That's correct. He replaced Pedro.
And I think Pedro might have had a little bit of a knock as well.
That's right.
Yeah, so I mean, are you thinking about getting rid of him? You just gonna kind of sit tight for this week and see how it goes?
Yeah, I'll sit tight this week, and that's because, of course, Pedro's at home to West Brom, and I sort of did a little bit of digging earlier on and realised that he actually was past fit. Whether how many minutes he's going to get is another question, but because of the Aguero situation this week, as well as now Austin, I've had to take one hit already, -4, to change both those players. So I think I'll just rest on it. But I think if Pedro doesn't return this week, I might do a knee-jerk 1 week and go Sigurdsson.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad call.
You had a fantastic stat, didn't you, Craig, about Sigurdsson's involvement in Swansea's last maybe 5 games in terms of their goals. It was somewhere up in 60 or 40% in your article. Was it your article?
Absolutely, yeah, no, it is. It's up. It's really up there. I think it was about 60% I mean, it's remarkable, really. He's sort of literally contributing to everything that they're doing that is positive. So he is without a doubt right up there, and his price tag is crazy, really, considering that he has been playing as a centre forward. There is question marks around that, of course, because Llorente came in last time and he's looked quite good against him. He played Crystal Palace and he got some big points from the bench. He played 20 minutes, so there's a chance that Sigurdsson could sit behind, but then that's Sigurdsson's natural position, so it's not really a concern for me. I know that Sigurdsson's weighed in with as many shots, or just behind Alexis Sanchez and Sergio Aguero. So that kind of says it all.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, just kind of still. James Parter does point out the $1 million thing when it comes to Swansea is that it's like saying Derby had good fixtures a few years ago. They're just not a good team, and when they're down there 20th, rooted at the bottom. Now, what I would say is that there is that element of the rebound. Like Bob Bradley is now firmly in a dogfight for his job. I would think he's doomed if they lose this weekend.
Yeah.
We also have a good stat from James Parter, which was flying around on Twitter. He's not even entering this into our little competition this week, but it's from Rich Dolly on Twitter is where he got it. You might have seen this. It's pretty fantastic. Jose Holebas has more Premier League shots on target than Jamie Vardy and as many assists as Riyad Mahrez.
Yeah, that's impressive. He's been good. I don't think I'm going to get rid of him just because of his attacking threat this season.
I don't think it's Holebas that's been good. I think it might have been the other two have been bad, but okay.
Well, I mean, I think he's shown. I think he's shown that he's a good player. He has 2 goals in the season.
I had him before the run. I've got every single one of those good points from him. But yeah, I know.
Yep. Stag and Craig, I just want to welcome Chief back to the show. Chief is here with us. I don't know if Chief is going to unmute his mic, but he said he's ready.
Hey, Chief.
There he is.
The king speaks.
Hey, I'm hopefully not feeling as hoarse as last week, and hopefully my voice doesn't sound as if I'm submerged in a yellow submarine.
It sounds good. I think we're just kind of transitioning to a new topic of discussion. I think we pretty much summed up Sigurdsson.
To the questions, is Chief here this week?
Can I just mention the prize for this week, if that's okay, guys?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, you should.
So yeah, we've got prize on for this week. Tweet us your most compelling stats. Put your stat in the chat if you want to. The prize this week is kindly sponsored by our friends at Fantasy Football Fix, courtesy of Craig, who's on the show. Craig, do you want to explain what the prize is on offer for tonight?
Yeah, of course. For people that aren't aware, Fantasy Football Fix is a service that basically provides stats to fantasy football managers. It's a great website. It's very well put together. It's visually compelling and very easy to engage with. So we are putting up a subscription to the site. People are more than whoever wins is more than welcome to contact me after the show, and I can sort of talk them through it, even sort of demo them the site if they're not familiar with it. I'm more than happy to do that.
Brilliant. Thanks, Craig. So
just
get
a
your
slight-
stats into us. Go ahead, Stag.
I was just going to take a clerical issue, but you get that. You finish your point first.
No, that's all I said. Just get your stats into us on Twitter, and I'm keeping a running tally of them, and you'll be entered into the contest this week.
Yeah, so looking forward to that big vote off in
That's
approximately
right, guys.
28 minutes, I would think. So I've just a clerical question to absolutely everybody who's watching right now, including panelists. So I've just tweeted out just saying that we're live with the live link. So if people could retweet that, it would be fantastic. So we just get people in here, because we're having a good crowd here so far.
Hey, Chief, what were you gonna say?
I said stats don't lie, guys. That's so I went through a phase at the end of 2014 where I heavily relied on stats for my captain and for my transfers. And well, to cut a long story short, I shot up the rankings, but then I captained Olivier Giroud and it all went wrong. But, yeah, less said about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Was that the Stevens Day massacre? Or Boxing Day massacre,
yes,
as you put
it was the Boxing Day massacre. But prior to that, I literally had like a run of like 8 captains with like double-digit points. But yeah, ever since then, it went downhill for me. But no, on a serious note, stats can tell you a lot about certain players. In fact, it was reliance on stats in that very season where I noticed that Riyad Mahrez had really good stats, but he had no end product, and lo and behold, the season after, he got the end product and became the player of the year. So it's not those stats aren't going to necessarily tell you the future, but they tell you a lot about the past.
So
And
with that in mind, Chief,
sure.
now, so FPL Penguin has been sending me some of Andre Arshav, and if you don't
Love
follow
the
Andre,
Penguin.
his graphics are beautiful. You need to follow them. But Penguin just sent me one of Andre's shots inside the box graphics. Okay. So,
Okay.
who do you think, if you were to think now, and this is a question even to Mr. Statsman Craig, last 4 game weeks, who have the most shots inside the box?
Defoe.
Defoe isn't even in the top 7.
Craig, do you have a guess?
Anichebe.
Shots inside the
Anichebe,
box.
Yes, Anichebe. I think you probably got that from your mention. Anichebe.
I wouldn't have said that.
There you go. Anichebe had 5 shots inside the box just last weekend alone, and he's had 12 in the last 4 game weeks. So, Chief, on that logic, are you getting Anichebe captaining the man?
No, I'm not. But can I just add something on the Austin debate very quickly? That I'd already done my transfer on Saturday. I got Costa in for Aguero. I then took a hit by selling Holbass for Alonso, and then Austin gets injured. Now, I'm not going to take a -8 to get Anichebe or anyone off that ilk. So I've got to rely on MacArthur, who's got a good fixture away to Hull, midfielder. So I'm just happy to fly with that, and then maybe get Iheanacho in for the midweek game.
Yeah, I think that's a good
actually,
plan.
great.
You could get lucky with MacArthur getting like an assist or something.
Yeah.
A bit of a bolt out of the blue question, actually, talking about midfielders who need a bit of luck. But Craig, how's Mr. Snodgrass looking this weekend? High on Snodgrass, as Luke would say.
I haven't actually. There hasn't been many dealings with Snodgrass. He's not been mentioned much. Not really looked into numbers around him. So I'd have to do a bit of looking into that, perhaps. And if you were interested in it, and obviously I'll pop some numbers up on across obviously my Twitter handle. But yeah, no, not particularly. I think everything's gone a little bit quiet on him, to be honest.
Yeah, so I have Mr. Snodgrass. I saw that wonderful run that was coming up for Hull. That wonderful run that's culminated in 3 defeats in a row. Or no, wait, they got
it's crazy.
That was a good day for them.
Sorry, everyone. I'll take the blame for that one.
Yeah, I know you should have, because I was seriously thinking of, let's not. But But anyway, Snodgrass plays the last of that run really this weekend against Palace, and I'm kind of thinking, right, okay, I can go and I can take a -8 hit, and I can get in one Mr. Gylfi Sigurdsson and wipe out all that is left of my budget, or I can just keep Snodgrass for just one last week. And I'm wondering, should I do it? Should I not? Like I've watched a fair few of Hull's matches, and I've lost my eyesight because of it, but they've been pretty atrocious. Like Snodgrass's best moment in the last few weeks was this wonderful acrobatic shot against maybe West Brom. He spun around and he just kind of flicked it, but it was saved. And other than that, there's been nothing. It's just been pain and suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those ones. You'll probably end up taking him out this week, and as much as they've been dreadful recently, I mean, he is Mr. Hull, and they are playing Crystal Palace at home, who are just literally can't keep a clean sheet. Well, I say that other than when they played Southampton last week.
Speaking of Southampton, so I think I'd be right in saying, having read your article again, that Cedric was in your list?
Yeah, Cedric was in there, yeah, absolutely.
So Cedric has got good fixtures, so Southampton as well have good fixtures, imagine that. They have Middlesbrough at home, Stoke away, Bournemouth away, that's their next 3 games. So Cedric is, you would be correct in saying you're a bit of a Southampton expert as well. So, what are you thinking on all this?
Well, again, we have our own top 5 key player picks, which the algorithm denotes, and they're always very, very strong. We work behind the scenes to basically bring players that can be a bit more realistic from time to time. People want to see a little budget player thrown in there, so we do it week in, week out, and we try to put in a defender from time to time, so it's not just boring with midfielders. So Cedric is one of our top 5 key players this week. He's from what I've seen of him, I really like him. I mean, he's a bit lightweight in the defensive department. He gets caught out from time to time. He's a small guy, very small for, okay, fine, you get small right backs, but he's not, he's not always the strongest in the challenge. But to be honest, when the Southampton defence is so strong, it kind of doesn't matter, and it's kind of neither here nor there really, as long as they, defend well as a unit. And actually, surprisingly, Cedric has done very, very well this season when he's played in terms of clean sheets kept. So the fact that he's 0.4, 0.5 cheaper than the rest of the defenders in the Southampton lineup, he's one definitely look at because he loves to get forward. Yeah,
he's definitely the pick of the litter from Southampton defenders. And I think Southampton almost plays like Spurs did last year with. I think it's Oriol Romeu. He kind of just drops in as almost a third center back, and it really allows those two those wingers in Bertrand and Suarez to just kind of run forward and get crosses in. So I would imagine that he spends a good portion of his time in the attacking third. If you're looking for a cheap sub 5 million. Or he might be 5 million.
He's 5
now.
bang on, yes.
Yeah.
He was 4.9.
So, what was that, Chief?
Yeah, he's gone up in price. He was 4.9.
Yeah.
But he's gone up. I mean,
yeah.
I think people have seen the good run of games, and Southampton have kept clean sheets. So he's bound to rise even more, I guess.
Yeah, I
think. Sorry, I was just going to add that I think with Southampton out of Europe, it's quite a big thing for them in the Premier League. Over the last 3 seasons, clean sheets have been something that they've become quite accustomed to, and actually, it surprised me that they're the third behind both Chelsea and Spurs with clean sheets kept this season, which is quite surprising because they're sort of sitting middle of the table at the moment. But I think without that European distraction now, they should go and kick on it. And I think, as you pointed out, with the Aurelien Romeu positioning, dropping back in sort of centre defence at times, it just gives it that solidarity. So I think Claude Puel's really got the guys going, and I think that, they're definitely the team to look out for.
Yeah, I think that Southampton, despite having Charlie Austin out for what could be maybe 3 or 4 weeks with his shoulder, I think they look really, really good going forward. I'm really, really optimistic about them. Their defense really has looked pretty solid all year. I think where they struggle a bit is in the goals department and kind of the chance creation. I don't know if the stats back that up, but I know they've been hurting having Dusan Tadic out for a while. So
absolutely.
I'll be looking for him to come back and kind of spring some creativity into the field.
like the perennial problem with them earlier in the season, at least anyway, was they kept taking these seriously long shots, these low probability shots that just were never going to pay off. They rarely actually tried to play it into the box. That was their huge problem.
Yeah.
They're a very frustrating team to watch. Like, as I kind of tweeted out a thing there, like yesterday, the day before, like, so Charlie Austin leads their scoring, 9 goals. Second best is Nathan Redmond. Nathan Redmond, for goodness sake, he has 3 goals. Their third best scorer.
Never had that happen.
Well, I'll just check. The channel is still up, so that's a pro.
We're definitely offline.
Yeah, we're offline.
It's the I'm on the stream. Oh wait, we're back.
Yeah, it looks like it's continuing.
We are back. Hello, just tell me.
Hi guys.
Tell me if you hear us. Hello.
Oh man, we've lost almost 11. We're down to 11 viewers.
We were
All right.
well up in the 60s.
Yeah, we had some really good numbers. All right, guys, we're gonna
back.
tweet out the show again, just to
Yeah,
see
cool.
if people will come back. We'll finish up the show pretty quick.
Yeah, I'll do a technical issues fixed one.
Yeah, Chief,
Right.
if you could get a tweet out as well, that would be good. Sorry for the issue. I've literally never run into that, but we should be back now. So yeah, I guess we can finish up the Southampton talk. Do you guys want to just kind of go right into the prize and then talk about our teams? That should get us to around 6 o'clock or 11 o'clock for you guys.
More than happy to do that.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I've done that tweet there, guys.
Okay, so I've got my stat. It comes from John Lebo180 on Twitter, good friend of the show. He said Alexis has had his hand in 25 goals in his last 25 Premier League appearances for Arsenal. That's 18 goals and 7 assists. And his stat comes from BBC Sport. So that is my stat.
bad.
Alexis going crazy.
I've got my stat here as well.
All right, go for it.
It's from the FPL Penguin, and I really like that stat about Mr. Anichebe with the shots inside the box for the last 4 game weeks. Second behind, or joint second behind Aguero. And I know some people have brought him into their team. Is he a fluke or isn't he? Time will tell. But that is a really compelling stat, and it's definitely food for thought. Absolutely. So that's my stat.
Okay.
My stat is going to be from Mr. FPL Forecast, who tweeted me with 3 tweets to actually get his stat all together. The Iheanacho one. So as Iheanacho has become an option, right? Last season he had a goal per minutes ratio averaging 1 every 93.9 minutes and 5 assists. So far this season, from 301 minutes of football, he's produced a goal or assist every 50 minutes of game time, having only completed 90 minutes once in that time.
Okay. All right, so those are our 3 stats. So we've got Sanchez, we have Iheanacho, and Chief, what was yours? We have
Anichebe.
Anichebe.
Lord
Okay,
Anichebe.
so Sanchez, Anichebe,
Oh, wait.
or Iheanacho in the chat.
Don't start voting yet. Don't start voting yet. I have to get my
They've
staff
started.
up. I forget to
They've
get it up
started.
every single week this happens. Okay,
And-
I'm going to write the word start, and every vote after that is... okay, so 3, 2, 1.
All right, let's do it. And
Yeah,
if the
yeah,
vote
we'll
is close, Craig can be
Sanchez.
the decider since he's graciously
Anichebe,
sponsoring.
I want to win. Back my horse.
Sanchez, Iheanacho, and Ichibi. Come on, guys.
Is the
Sanchez.
chat lagging it a little bit?
I think I'm...
Just a little slow.
Okay, Chief definitely is lagging. Sanchez,
Oh,
though,
the
is...
Sanchez is coming in there now.
Whoa, yeah, the Sanchez horse is coming in hard.
A couple more for Anichebe.
No chance Iheanacho is going to
Iheanacho.
come running in at the last second. A lot of Iheanachos. Come on,
Sanchez
guys.
again.
I believe.
Iheanacho.
Nacho cheese. I'm counting that.
How are you doing on time?
We're talking about 5 seconds.
Okay.
4, 3, 2. There's only one winner.
Okay. All right. So I think it looks like it's Sanchez this week. So that prize goes to Lebo_180.
Mr. John Levo.
Congrats, John. So contact Craig on Twitter at fix_Craig.
Craig. Yeah, fix_Craig. So just
butchered
follow
that.
me, send me a message, and There we go.
Sorry about that.
Ken Rooney actually just came with a great stat, but he missed the
Oh,
vote.
no.
So, sorry, Ken. But
Sorry, Ken.
Dimitri Payet has completed more crosses, 13, than any other player in the past 4 game weeks, and he's even added a timely reminder that with a picture of Andy Carroll under that.
Brilliant.
Carroll. Oh, actually, there was one person as well. Who was it? It was Gio. He's a good man on the Twitter. He's around always. Gio was asking about Macaulay, so I just did a little bit of research for you there. Pulis is going to make Pulis is going to make a late call. Here I go again. Anyway, Pulis is going to make a late call on Macaulay. He hasn't trained all week, so that doesn't sound too promising for you.
Oh my god.
Yes, again. I can't believe it. I really can't.
Can we thanks for watching the show, guys. Can we get a like in the show for Pulis, everyone? That would be greatly appreciated.
Why do I do this?
Oh man, it's like a weekly occurrence now.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to our teams and just kind of talk about how we got on last week and kind of what we're looking at this week. Craig, do you want to start? Just kind of tell us about your points total and kind of your transfers coming up.
Yeah, of course. It's been a bit of a difficult one for me this season. I'm sitting around, I think it's just around a couple of 100,000 rank, which I'm a bit disappointed with, although I'm sort of building good team value, which has been my strategy for a number of years now, and has boded quite well. I think I've had 4 top 10,000 finishes in the last 5 years. So hopefully that will bear some fruit soon, particularly with the wild card coming up. My team at the minute, quite interestingly, I was very happy with my team a couple of weeks ago, particularly the front 7. I even popped out a tweet. I was so happy with it, and it's changed so much. So I'd just say to anybody out there that's sometimes panics at this stage and thinks, God, I'm sort of in the middle of my mini league or whatever. Don't really seem to be going anywhere. Is that things change really quickly. And I don't know if you guys have sort of experienced this as well, but you feel like, right, that team looks really good. Then all of a sudden, things can just happen. Like we've seen this week with Aguero and Austin, 2 players that were performing relatively well for me, gone, overnight. And I've got 3 players remaining from that front 7, which literally was 16 days ago. I sent the tweet out, and 3 players remain. So Coutinho went out for Pedro. You've then got Aguero out, and I've taken him out for Costa. That was, of course, this week. So I've just sort of beat the couple of price rises there.
Yeah, good.
And in addition to that, I've taken Lukaku out for Kane, which it's not really inspired, because I think Lukaku was just demonstrating that he was becoming a bit of a frustrating asset to own. And then Austin, he's going to go out for Iheanacho for me. So that's kind of some of the recent moves I've had, and I've had some quite good luck with some budget defenders as well, like Holebas, Macaulay, Foster, and even Peters to a degree over the last couple of weeks. So
yeah,
my
Peters.
strategy's always been
What overall rank does that kind of translate to? Not in terms of what you are now, but if you want to say where you are now, fair enough. But what's your kind of your hope? Like, what's the ambition for the year?
I think for me, I'd like to be making sure that I'm finishing in the top 20,000 again. As I mentioned, I've had some good finishes over the last 5 seasons, and at the moment, I think I just touched upon it just a second ago, Sag. I don't think you heard it, but I'm sort of I'm in and around the 200,000 mark at the moment, so I'm not overly happy with that. But I've had to do a few hits here and there, which I've not been entirely enthused about. But I think these things happen.
Yeah. I think that's a good goal too for you. I think that puts you around like the top 0.5% of managers. So, yeah, I mean we're pulling for you. And I think you've got the tools at your hand. I know Fix has a ton of great just kind of tools that you can access. And membership, I know, is not expensive either, and it'll really help your team. So, it's a really good, great product you get going on there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really good. certainly it's helped me. I've gone, so for the last couple of weeks I've had 2 green arrows. My team value is around 105 now, which I'm really happy with. It gives me the sort of armory to go in the sort of wildcard January window to build upon the defence, because that's always been my strategy. Start big up front, try and build the team value, and then put some money in and around the defence, and it's always worked quite well for me over the years. And the last 2 weeks I've moved up 400,000 places with a couple of good performances. So it's like you said, you can creep your way up into the top 10,000 by sort of 5 or 6 game weeks from the end, no problem at all. It's just, I think it's like people have got to remember it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yep. And before we kind of go into the other teams, I just want to say that a lot of the people in the top kind of positions right now have used their chips. They've used their bench boost. They've used their triple captain. And so, I mean, saving it is usually the way to go when the double game weeks come around. You usually get more out of those than you would if you just use it in a, single game week. So, I think if you're keeping your chips around, you're doing yourself a good service. And I just want to send it over to Chief now. I know he wanted to talk about his team next. So, Chief, just tell us how you did last week and kind of what transfers you're looking at this week.
Yeah, so I took a hit for Kane and I captained him last week, and I ended up with 64 points. Monday Night Football, Snodgrass didn't really do much for me. I mean, with hindsight, I wish I had Costa back then, and that would have certainly have helped me more so than I actually ended up with my rank being just a 20k increase. So I'm up to 280k right now, and in terms of what I'm targeting, at the very minimum, I always aim for the top 1%. So 40k minimum is what I'm looking at. But obviously, the higher ranking up the rankings, the better. I'm 280k right now, and traditionally, I hate like FPL during December. The game weeks come literally, around thick and fast. Almost every other day there seems to be a game week. Literally, after Boxing Day, and it really is about being patient, to be honest with you, and it's about making sure that you have a good, solid 15 players for this month, and just not panicking really. And even Craig was alluding to it there as well. That if you're not in your ideal rank right now, don't worry about it. You've still got more than half a season to go to achieve that. And if anything, if you're not like doing horrendously bad, but you're not doing amazingly good, you are, in a place where you've got yourself a platform to build upon, to, just shoot up the rankings. And it's just about, make the sensible decisions, get on the bandwagon players before they become bandwagons, own the high ownership players. And in my estimation, ultimately, it is the differentials, and it will literally be your cheap players that will differentiate you from other football, the other managers out there. And you've got the stats there, you've got a bit of luck there. Just don't panic and have fun.
Yep, good stuff, Chief. I think you're in a good spot, and if you're able to get kind of around the the 100k mark by the end of the Christmas fixture list, I think you'll have done really well there.
Absolutely, and also, you mentioned about the chips as well, that so many of the managers who are high up the rankings right now, they've used at least one of their chips, and it's almost like, in my estimation, since they introduced the chips, you've got like this false ranking table that has been created in the first half of the season, where people just blow their chips just to be highly ranked. I don't really care what my rank is right now. At the end of the day, it's the end of season rank that matters most. So, just play it sensibly and, always think ahead.
Yep. Good stuff. Stag, you want to go, and then I'll go through my team quickly, and we'll say bye.
We'll finish with the big good news story of the week of last week. Right, me, I'll be hyper brief. This week I've dumped Austin, got in Ahinacho, as I said. And in defence, I've also brought in Alonso because what are you doing if you don't have a Chelsea defender, or Alonso because he's the cheaper of one of the cheapest? That's pretty much how I am. I went up last week. I'm actually directly level on points with Chief right now. Like, we are both on 731. I think both of us would be hoping to be about 100 points higher than that, but that's where we are. And that's my objective. Someone was asking top 10k. You got to be looking for the top 10k, guys. But
Absolutely.
as it stands right now, that's not where I am. But hopefully things will come together. I'm still considering, but probably won't go through because I've already taken a 4-point hit of Snodgrass to Siggy. So pretty happy to be on the green arrows again. I had my first one in 5 weeks last weekend. So let's just go again. Really reliant on Liverpool this weekend. No Sanchez.
Good. Yeah, so I guess I'll try and wrap this up pretty quickly. I had a pretty amazing week last week. I had a game week rank of around 25,000. Broke 100 points in a non-double game week week with Captain Sanchez. I had Eriksson, Costa. I had a Johnny Evans goal. I had Lloris and Peters clean sheet. So I think I had almost a 60k rise, and I'm sitting around 11k right now. So yeah, I mean,
Superb stuff.
yeah, thank you. I think my goal right now is honestly to just keep it where it is. It's going to be tough in this Christmas fixture list to get it right. I mean, things are unpredictable. I know I have a Charlie Austin size problem right now that I have to debate whether I need a hit this week or not.
Have you not taken a hit so far?
I haven't. No, I've taken 0 hits this whole year.
Okay, that's good.
And I just can't. I don't know. I'm tempted to play Darren Fletcher this week just because he's gotten a couple of assists in the last 2 weeks. Yeah, I don't really know what I'm gonna do. Would you guys take a hit this week for Austin?
Well, if you haven't done it all this time, it's kind of one of those things, isn't it? You don't want to break the bubble.
Yeah. I mean, it's just hard to say whether it's going to bite me or whether it's going to actually help me. But yeah, I'll go down to the wire on that decision. But right now, I've got my captain on Sanchez. Are you guys kind of the same? I know you don't have him, Stag. Who are you looking at?
Currently Costa. It's got to be Costa.
Yeah. I think that's a smart play. Are you Sanchez as well, Craig?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's going to be difficult. I kind of want to try and make up a little bit of ground in my mini league, so I'm thinking that I might lean towards Hazard, but I've got Costa, Hazard, and Sanchez, so it's kind of almost a bit too much of a dilemma, really. I'll end up picking the wrong one.
Yeah.
That's been my problem ultimately for the last 14 game weeks. I know everyone could say that, but I keep picking the wrong one. I thought I'd had it last week with Kane, and then Sanchez goes and does his miracle show.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. We'll see who comes in with the goals at the end, but yeah, I think that's a good shout. And I think in the interest of time and the interest of me getting to my concert performance on time, we'll wrap the show up here. So I want to thank everyone for listening. Sorry for the brief little hiccup in the middle. I don't anticipate that happening again. It's just kind of a weird accident, but. Thanks Stag and Chief for joining us. Thank you to Craig. Give him a follow on Twitter at @fix_Craig. Go check out Fantasy Football Fix. They've got a really great platform for you to get some stats. And we will see everyone at the end of Game Week 16 and going into Game Week 17 because we've got 2 games this week. So good luck everyone, and we will see you soon.
Yeah, chat to you in a week, guys. See ya.
Yeah, see you soon. Good luck, everybody.
Take care, guys. Bye.